IBM-Kyndryl Spin Off. And by the way, is it spin off or is it spin out? What's the difference?
Sure, I don't know. Whatever. I think it's whatever you want it to be, but I think it is a spin-off. I think typically the market's going to call it a spin-off. I think, this is, by the way, these two, we'll talk about this and we'll talk a little bit about Dell. We have another one. Yesterday we talked to Bob Lord, the SVP of Ecosystem at IBM. We did a 6.5. So we aren't going to have to beat the drum a ton, but we, of course, know that only 90% of the world's population watch our show at any given time. So for those 10% of you, we wanted to make sure we came back and talked about this again. In all seriousness, though, this was a really, really big moment for IBM. Now, if you haven't been following the situation too closely, IBM, has been in a situation where for years now, it has really struggled to hit growth targets. It's had inconsistent. It had a period where it had many concurrent quarters back to back without growth. And so the thing about that is it wasn't fully reflective of the company's innovation, the company's efforts to innovate, and its focuses into the right areas. It's been making some really sound acquisitions. Of course, Red Hat being one of them. Some people balked a little bit at the size and the price of that acquisition. But when that acquisition was made, and Arvind Krishna, CEO now, despite the fact that he wasn't CEO at the time, led the charge on that one, fully understood the direction the company needed to go in. The company oftentimes finds itself being valuated as a old, stodgy, monolithic IT company. And realistically, with its bets and investments, whether that's quantum, whether that's AI, whether that's been cloud, is anything but monolithic. But at the same time, because some of its old businesses, especially its managed infrastructure services business, which is now Kyndryl, you had a business that really struggled to grow, oftentimes didn't grow, but was representative of a significant component of the company's revenue. You have a market out there that's just thirsty for growth. So this gave the company an opportunity to really narrow down its buckets, to focus on software infrastructure, consulting, and research, to be able to really lead with hybrid cloud. It's the time for Red Hat to rise. So it was, Kyndryl out, Red Hat in, to be able to build the whole hybrid cloud and enterprise hybrid cloud narrative around software, around AI, around industry focus and enterprise. And I think that's really what's going on here. Now, having said that, I think we're going to take 2, maybe even 4 quarters before we start to get a sense of how well this is going. I think the market is going to want to see the growth rates be more significant in those specific areas, meaning the business under cloud and software specifically. But I feel like this gives a new opportunity for IBM to sort of be reborn a little bit, to introduce itself to the investment community, and also to settle on what it wants to be when it grows up, which is a faster paced growth company. They're only targeting single digits, Pat, but overall, like I said, got to watch the pod, ton of insights there, but the platform is taking it in a direction that I'm more fond of and that I think will pan out well over the long term.
I think it's just good for both companies, Daniel, and I like to keep my strategy simple. And one of the strategic points I always look at is what I call gear theory. Think of a company as a set of gears that have to work together. There's different sizes, maybe different speeds. The challenge is when you have gears that are too different in size and speed and even shape, they tend to grind on each other. And that's what I think what was happening between IBM and its managed services business. AI, ML, quantum, and the hybrid cloud are one set of gears, and managed services is a different set of gears. Kyndryl needs a lot of automation technologies. IBM needs investments in growth for AI, ML, quantum, and cloud. It's literally as simple as that. So I think this is a good move for Kyndryl, and I think this is a good move for IBM. And while this doesn't automatically make IBM grow double digits, in fact, it won't. The company has said, hey, we'll have strong single-digit growth. We'll have businesses that'll have double, triple digit growth, but this does not automatically put IBM into, Amazon category, or actually AWS category, or something like that. IBM still has the challenge, and I think they bet big, like you said, with Red Hat, on really making the hybrid cloud stick. And it's funny, IBM doesn't need any new customers, okay? They have all the customers they actually need, the large enterprises. What they need to do is switch those customers in cloud from one brand to the other. But their biggest challenge is actually getting their customers to do the cloud, right? And I think, whether it's financial, whether it's government, whether it's, life sciences, retail, I think IBM has a really good job of doing it wherever there are a lot of regulations, wherever there's a high degree of risk. I think IBM should do pretty well.